Hey guys, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn 101. This episode is a special treat for my now over 2,000 subscriber base. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. You don't know how much it means to me. I'm going to be doing a dungeon walkthrough of Brayflox's Longstop. I wish I could show you video. I really wish I would. I really wish I could, but for now it's got to be screenshots. I'll just give you a general overview of the dungeon. This is the final dungeon currently available in Beta Phase 3 for testing. It's level 32 to 34, and it is a beaut of a dungeon, if I must say myself. For those of you who don't want to be spoiled of this dungeon, I recommend that while I'm saying this right now, you turn off the video. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Going on without you. Anyway, so you can start in the dungeon. You start in this little blue circle. The blue circle essentially says when you get a cutscene when you walk into the dungeon, and it gives everyone time to watch a cutscene before the timer starts for the dungeon. For those who don't know this, Final Fantasy XIV dungeons have a timer to prevent you from taking hours upon hours in a single dungeon. Basically, the dungeon should take you no longer than about 40 minutes, so don't worry too much about this. It's not going to be something that you're gonna like just barely cut close, you know. So basically, you're going to walk in, you're going to notice that this is very lush vegetation. You're also going to notice there's a giant tail directly in front of me. Don't worry about that. That guy's just going to fly away right at the beginning of the dungeon. You'll go out into an open area with a little creek, some rocks and whatnot. It's a very nice looking area. If you look on your right, you'll notice that there's a door that you can't go into yet. You actually need a key. You can kill the monsters outside if you want right now, but I recommend just going up the creek towards a ledge. Kill some Colibris and some Opa-Opas on the way. Nothing too fancy. The Opa-Opas can get annoying with their ranged attacks, but just, group them all up and you'll be fine. Once you walk up the creek, you'll notice that there's a Goblin Pathfinder up there. Don't worry, he's not a bad guy. Walk up to him and ask him for a Run-Stop Headgate key. Once you get the key, now you can go back and open that door that we were talking about. Once you open that door, there will be a boss on the other side. It'll be a giant cockatrice and 3 little ads. Now, this fight's not too mechanically challenging, but he does hit pretty hard. I recommend positioning the cockatrice in the back towards the gate for when the ads spawn. So when you start the fight, kill the 3 ads and face him away from your party. Now, the main boss himself does Hammerbeak, which just hits you really hard up on top of his auto attacks. And he'll also do an ability called Numbing Breath. Numbing Breath paralyzes you, makes your attacks sometimes not work. It's very annoying. I recommend not getting hit by it. Whenever he goes to do this attack on you, I recommend simply sidestepping it. Walk over to 90 degrees to the boss's side. Let him do the breath attack. Walk back in front of him. If you do it right, he won't even take the time to reposition, and your damage dealers won't lose any damage from being mispositioned. Also, when you stand in the back and the ads respawn, they'll do an attack called Poison Breath. Poison Breath isn't too bad, but with all the hits that you're already taking, you kind of don't want to take any more damage over time. If you get hit by it, I recommend popping an antidote so your healer doesn't have to stop and Asuna you. If not, I just recommend sidestepping this as well. It's a little bit harder to notice because the ads are grouped up and small, but if you just notice them charging up an attack, just step to the side of the main boss and they should miss that attack, assuming your position is alright. If you can get past that, do enough damage to the boss, he'll eventually fall, you'll get a treasure chest, and you can move on into the Goblin Town. Now, the Goblin Town's been overrun with pucks. Brayflox wants you to help him kill the pucks. So, when you walk up there, he'll actually fight a Drake right away, which is a little bit funny. But it looks here like I'm not doing a very good job, but somebody actually ran ahead of me and started fighting while I was checking something out. So that's what it looks like. Once you destroy any of the ads that are fighting the goblins, you'll actually get a treasure coffer. Mostly the mobs are going to be pucks, which are these little dragon-looking monsters, tiny, tiny-looking dragon monsters. And they aren't too difficult, so don't worry too much. Walk around, see how many goblins you can find. I believe I found 3 total, including Brayflox at the beginning. And save each of them. They'll be outside their little houses, just, mind their own business. Monsters will come and fight them. And when you save them, you'll get a treasure coffer. A treasure coffer gives you a chance at a piece of jewelry most of the time. There are some other pieces you can get from them, some very standard pieces that aren't really dungeon specific. But other than that, it's really just you can walk straight to the end towards the Drake. Now, there is a Drake at the end of this. He is the next boss of the dungeon. He, too, has an interesting mechanic, but he himself isn't too much of a threat. When you start the fight, I recommend tanking him in the back, same way you did with the gate before, except this time just tank him right where he stands, but facing the other direction. After you do enough damage, Brayflox will actually join the fight, but he'll bring a Drake friend with him. He'll start running around the outer circle of the fight, and all I recommend is you stand still and you grab the Drake once it's close enough to you and tank both of them at the same time. Now, It's not too difficult. Both of them have a breath attack that doesn't hit that hard, but Brayflox has a move that can taunt the Drake. He will then taunt the Drake and run towards a random party member, have the Drake do the breath attack on them, and then the Drake will return to you. I recommend letting it run its course while you have both Drakes on you. You can provoke him off of Brayflox, but in my experience, he will just return to Brayflox and eventually do the breath attack anyway. So I recommend just letting it run its course, let him do the breath attack, let him come back to you in your initial position, and then continue on with the fight. Um, his fire breath doesn't do too much damage to you, but since you're getting hit by two breaths at the same time, it can add up. Make sure your healer's being pretty attentive here. I recommend finishing the main boss before taking on the little one, since they both have a lot of health. Once you finish the big boss, finish the little boss. Brayflox will do the same thing. He'll taunt him up, but his lightning breath isn't nearly as threatening as the fire breath was on the first Drake. So once you do that, you'll get another coffer. You'll get a piece of loot, and you can move on into the giant lake area. Now, this is one of my favorite looking areas in the game. As you can see, if you played at nighttime, there's a lot of glowing flowers all over the place, so it's a very nice detail for a dungeon done at nighttime. Wandering this part of the dungeon are pugils, which are fish, and Fs. Now, the Fs do more damage, but the pugils wander a wider area, so you kind of want to make sure that you don't get like 4 or 5 monsters on you, that you aggro too many at a time. The Fs damage can add up, especially because each of them have moves that can lower your magic defense down, and it can get hairy if you don't handle things properly. On the south side of the pond, there will be two alcoves that each have a treasure coffer in them, being guarded by some monsters. If you're interested in the treasure coffers, head down that way, clear your way down across the south end of the dungeon, and then eventually work your way towards the north west corner. Not talking about Kanye's kid, and just clear your way around here or kill all the monsters if you want the experience. At the end, you'll fight a Peisty, just a monster that does some AoE damage, nothing too bad. But if you aren't careful, you can get like 4 or 5 monsters on you at the same time that wander by him. Once you kill him, you'll be at the next boss, which is an Eft. This Eft boss has more mechanics than most of the other bosses in the dungeons, but none of them are too threatening in the way that the game is currently balanced. I have a feeling that they will make this fight a little bit harder as time goes on. So basically, when you start the fight, he'll do your standard F moves. You've already experienced them before. One is a giant AoE that reduces your magic defense, and one is a breath attack. So if you get hit by them in conjunction, the breath attack will hit you for about 400 or 500 damage. Uh, Not too bad, but you definitely don't want to get hit by it on top of all the other moves he's going to be doing. He'll also randomly target party members and put debuffs on them. He's got a slew of about 4 or 5 he can put on, and sometimes he applies more than one per spit attack. And there's really no way to stop it. Just let it run its course and let your white mage Asuna them off if they have the time. As you can see, being Asuna'd right now. And he'll also do one final attack that is a bubble. This bubble will essentially just do some damage over time. The person in the bubble can break it, or somebody else can break the bubble for them. Not too difficult. Just hit the bubble a few times. It'll pop, and you can move on with the fight. Once he hits a low enough amount of health, Ayatar, which is a giant dragon, the giant dragon from the entrance actually, will join the fight. He only has one mechanic, and it's his Dragon's Breath attack, but you don't have to, but he won't stay in the fight that long. You do maybe 1,000 damage to him, and he will fly away. As you can see, you can sidestep his Dragon's Breath attack as well, although it does look very beautiful when paired up against the water in this game. So once you've avoided a few Dragon's Breath and done some damage to him, you'll finish the boss, you'll get your treasure coffer, and you can move on to the next area, which is the Charred area. I don't actually have any screenshots of the Charred area. It was getting kind of late, so I got kind of, I don't know, complacent with my screenshots at that point. But basically, there'll just be some drakes and some pucks. You kill them. There's actually a giant open area with a bunch of them, and then past that is a Correll, which are these cat-looking monsters that do an AoE paralysis attack. At this point, you fought a Correll automatically if you're at this dungeon, because you had to have done the level 15 dungeon at some point. And he just guards another treasure coffer. Kill him, get the treasure coffer, move on to this area. This is where the final boss will be, and that is the dragon that flew away from you in the previous fight, Ayatar. He's got a couple of mechanics, and some of them are interesting, and mostly they'll just prolong the fight. Some of them do a decent amount of damage, though, so be careful. So his first mechanic is the Dragon's Breath. He'll do this for the first 33% of his HP, and it's nothing too complicated. Again, just sidestep it and then step right back in front of him as to not disposition your the boss or your damage dealers. Also, you don't want to get your mages breathed on in case you're going to turn in that direction. That would be bad. And He also has a super high regen. That means his health will come back very quickly over time. So you may see his health jump up a lot during the fight. Don't worry. It's meant to happen. It's going to happen. Don't worry. However, at 66%, he'll start spitting poison clouds all over the arena. He spits them out one at a time, but he can spit them out in rapid succession sometimes. There's really no way of predicting how quickly he's going to do it. When he targets somebody, they'll have a few seconds to run around before he actually hits them in a spot. If you're a range, I recommend not moving until after the spit has already been projectiled onto you. Otherwise, he's just going to follow you anyway, and you're going to have to run farther. If you're in melee range, whether you're the tank or a damage dealer, I highly recommend that you run in the complete opposite direction of the dragon. Now, that depends. If you're a melee, I recommend you run away from him, directly away from him. If you're facing him, do a 180 with your mouse, turn, and run that direction. Even so, the tank should probably still back up a few steps so he doesn't stand in the poison trail. If the tank gets hit by it, then the tank can run off to the side really quick, drop it, and then come back if they're paying attention enough. If you stand in this poison thing, it will do some damage to you over time, not so big of a deal. But if he stands in it, it will basically double his regen while he's standing in it. So you got to get him out of it really quick, or you're just going to prolong the fight, which is never fun. Also, his final mechanic is at 33%. He will start doing a cave-in attack. This will actually do damage immediately in the area around Iatar, and it didn't look like it had a notification thing, so it looked to be instant. It will do about 200-300 damage and knock you back. So now this attack can disposition you whether or not you like it. So now you kind of have to be a little bit more careful about where you drop those poison trails. Really, this fight just takes a pretty long time. If you get a tier 2 limit break, though, you can burn through the last 33% super quick, so don't worry about that. And once you finish him, then Brayflox will come in and say, wow, thank you, I did all this, I'm so great, I'm the greatest hunter ever, and you will be done with the dungeon. Enjoy your loot. Anyway, guys, I hope that this dungeon was informative for you guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing my screenshots from the beta. I can't wait till I can actually show you guys some gameplay. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, favorite, subscribe, and share, especially if you want to show your friend what some of the later dungeons look like because he wasn't able to see them, or if you want to spoil it for him because you're that kind of friend. Also, check out my Facebook at www.facebook.com/MrHappy1227. You can go there, ask me questions, request videos. That is where I get most of my ideas for videos. So some of the videos this week will be the highly requested ones, hint, hint, for those of you who watch me on the regular. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting my YouTube channel. Over 2,000 subscribers. If you had asked me 2 weeks ago if this would ever happen, I would have said no. But now it's happening, and it's just fantastic. So thank you guys for watching. Tune in next time. I'm going to leave what next time is for a surprise. Take care, guys.